Hi, I'm Liv, and welcome back to the Book Nook. Hi guys, so as I mentioned in my last video, this is my July haul part 1, and it is big. I have a problem. I am almost embarrassed and ashamed, but also not. So I'm going to do them in order that I bought them because I've stacked them that way. Now, this first book I just randomly saw on the shelves at work. See, this is the perils of working in a bookshop. You see books while you're stacking the shelves and you end up getting intrigued, and this one was one I saw, and it is a massive one. It's a chunkster in every respect. And it's the 13.5 Lives of Captain Bluebear, Bluebear, a novel by Walter Moers. Now, it looks so charming. And it's something about mini pirates finding a baby bear with blue fur inside a walnut shell floating on the ocean towards a giant whirlpool. They rescue him, teach him about knots and waves. It's part science fiction, part fairy tale, part myth, part epic, satire and all these genres, and constantly satirises itself. And it just looks, I mean, it's got these gorgeous illustrations in there as well, all the way throughout. And it just looks like enormous fun that I was just absolutely smitten. So I had to get myself a copy of this one. So has anyone read this one? Because I don't really think I've heard anything about it. When I bought it, one of my colleagues who sold it to me said that she'd seen this and a couple of his others. And I've never heard of Walter Moers, so if anyone has read any Walter Moers or knows anything more about this, please do tell me. The next one that I got, I actually picked up when I was getting a copy of it for someone else and thought, sod it, I'll get a copy for myself. And that's I Can't Believe You Just Said That by Danny Wallace. It seems to be doing the rounds at the moment. It's the truth about why people are so rude. Danny Wallace, he's sort of a comedian and a sort of TV presenter and does various things in the UK, and he's written a book basically about rudeness, and he sort of meets with psychologists and psychiatrists, bellboys, cab drivers, bin men, barristers, politicians, a limo driver, and one expert in cooked meat production. So yeah, it's just looking at sort of honesty, rudeness, where's the line, and it's meant to be really, really fun. I've seen a lot of sort of excerpts from it that look really sort of funny and really quite interesting, so I thought I'd pick up a copy of that. Now, the next one I picked up, I am really, really excited about. Those who know me will know that I am a big lover of whiskey, and I went to Edinburgh in February. It's the first time I've ever been to Scotland. I was like, sod it, I need a holiday, I'm going to Scotland, so I just went to Scotland on my own for a few days and absolutely loved it. And one day I want to do a tour of all of the sort of Scottish islands and do a whiskey tour. But until then, I have sated myself with this book that I saw. I can't remember where I saw about it, and I saw it and I was like, right, there's no way I'm waiting for this one in paperback. And that is Chasing the Dram, Finding the Spirit of Whisky by Rachel McCormack. Now, Rachel McCormack is Scottish, and she's moved away from Scotland and back to Scotland a couple of times, so she decided to return and spend some time sampling Scotland's national passion and to explore sort of the history of whisky, modern life of whisky, and this book just looks absolutely gorgeous. And can I just draw your attention to, A, how beautiful is this cover, okay? Then the back cover, gorgeous. And then it's the end papers as well. Look at that. So yeah, it's a book about whiskey. There was no way I couldn't get it, really, quite frankly. I am looking forward to sitting down of an evening every now and again with a dram of whiskey and reading a chapter or two from this. So I am just in love with this book already, and I haven't even read it yet. But whiskey, yes please, chasing the dram, thank you. Then a book that probably doesn't need much introduction is Zadie Smith's Swing Time. Now, I have never actually read any Zadie Smith. I don't know whether that's shameful, I don't know whether that's normal, I don't know. I've never read any Zadie Smith. I think I've got On Beauty and White Teeth, but I've just never read them. But I've heard a lot of good things about Swing Time. When it was out in hardback, I was very tempted by it. And it's essentially set in London, New York and West Africa. Two brown girls from Willesden who dream of being dancers. One has the talent, one has the ideas. It's meant to be the story of the sort of difference between these two girls who want the same thing. And it's meant to be really beautiful and really quite punchy. And I love this cover. It's this lovely matte cover, and it's got these French flaps, and look again, end paper's good. Oh, there's my receipt in there. So I am not going to leave it too long before I get on with this one, I don't think. So Zadie Time, Swing Smith. No, Zadie Smith, Swing Time. Cat, what are you doing? Oi. It's raining, so the cat is unhappy. Then the next one is a book that I picked up because I was intrigued by it when it was out in hardback, and I thought as a bookseller and as a reader, this is a really interesting one, and that is The Bestseller Code by Jodie Archer and Matthew L. Jockers. And it's essentially a sort of scientific look at books and what makes a bestseller, and is there anything, the subtitle is Anatomy of a Blockbuster Novel. Is there anything sort of scientific in stats and things like that that you can boil down to look at what makes a bestseller? And I just thought it looks really, really interesting. Cover's gorgeous as well. I love the birdie. Birdie. yeah, it looks really, really fascinating, so I thought I'm going to pick this one up, and it's another sort of non-fiction one that I will probably read bits of in between other books. So yeah, that one looks really, really interesting, doesn't it? I'm taking the books from one stack and putting them on another stack, and the other stack is teetering. Then the next book I got, I'm not really sure how to classify this. Everyone's an Aliebn when you're an Aliebn too, by Jomny's son. He is a guy on Twitter who does these really sort of sweet and funny and sometimes quite sad and moving little tweets and things, and he's done a book. And it's about an alien sent to study Earth, and yeah, it's sort of about feeling like an outsider, looking at sort of human behaviours, I think, and again, it's one that's meant to be, it's gorgeously illustrated with these gorgeous little introductions, and I just thought it looks really good fun. His tweets often pop up on my timeline, and yeah, I have a little chuckle or a little, oh. So yeah, and it's really sweet, and it's absolutely gorgeously designed, so everyone's an Aliebn when you're an Aliebn too. I think that's how you pronounce that. Then, having read The Underground Railroad, we had a copy of The Intuitionist by Colson Whitehead come into store, and I nabbed it before anybody else could. It's about, I am going to read the blurb for this one. Verticality, architectural and social, is at the heart of Colson Whitehead's first novel that takes place in an unnamed high-rise city combining 21st century engineering feats with 19th century pork barrel politics. Elevators are the technological expression of the vertical idea, and Lila Mae Watson, the city's first black female elevator inspector, is its embattled token of upward mobility. When number 11 of the newly completed Fanny Briggs Memorial Building goes into a deadly freefall just hours after Lila Mae has signed off on it, using the controversial Intuitionist method of ascertaining elevator safety, both Intuitionists and empiricists recognise the setup, but may be willing to let Lila Mae take the fall in an election year. As Lila Mae strives to exonerate herself in this urgent adventure full of government spies, underworld hitmen, and seductive double agents, behind the action always is the idea. Lily Mae's quest is mysteriously entwined with existence of heretofore lost writings by James Fulton, father of Intuitionism, a giant of vertical thought. If she is able to find and reveal his plan for the perfect next-generation elevator, the city as it now exists may instantly become obsolescent. Whew! So, it's a book about lifts. And race, and fall guys, scapegoats, and I just thought it looked really interesting. I did quite like Colson Whitehead's writing style. Colson Whitehead's writing style. Oh, too many W's and R's. Colson Whitehead's writing style was quite enjoyable in The Underground Railroad. So I thought I'd give The Intuitionist a try at some point. Colson Whitehead, The Intuitionist. Then I picked up a copy of Getting It in the Head by Mike McCormack, and this is his debut short story collection. Mike McCormack, of course, is the author of Solar Bones, which won the Goldsmiths Prize last year, which I still haven't read, which is really, really bad, because everything I hear about it is amazing, and it's definitely my kind of book. I just haven't got around to it yet, which is really shocking. But Canongate have reprinted Mike McCormack's books in these gorgeous, the Canons covers, so Solar Bones, and Notes from a Coma is his other one, which looks really, really interesting. So this one is sort of set in locations from New York to the west of Ireland and to the nameless realms of the imagination, a world where beautiful but deranged children make lethal bombs, talented sculptors spend careers dismembering themselves in pursuit of their art, and wasters rise up with axes and turn into patricides. So it sounds like really weird short fiction, which I love. So yeah, I am going to give this one a go soon. I may take this on my train journey with me today, but I haven't decided. So yeah, Getting It in the Head by Mike McCormack. Whew, this is a lot of books. Then I picked up a copy of a book which, if I'm being honest, I think I might already have somewhere. I think I might have a proof copy of the hardback, but I'm not entirely sure, so I picked up a copy to remind myself to check if I've got the proof. I'm trying to make excuses here, but I got a copy of A Woman Looking at Men, Looking at Women by Siri Hustvedt, and it is a trilogy of works looking at sort of hysteria, synesthesia, memory, and yeah, it just looks like a really interesting book. Essays on art, sex, and the mind. So this looks like it's a bit of a chunkster, and you know, this sort of 3 books in one here. Delusions of A Woman Looking at Men, Looking at Women, Delusions of Certainty, and What Are We? So it just looks like a really sort of thinky, interesting book that I am going to make my way through slowly. I do need to check if I've already got the proof copy, because if I have, it's ridiculous. Next one I picked up yesterday was The Toll. I say yesterday, you're not going to know when that is by the time this goes up. And that is The Toll by Luke Wright, and it's a collection of poetry. I heard about Luke Wright basically through Twitter, and I've sort of been following him on Twitter for a little while and just sort of reading a few of his poems sort of through his tweets and things on there. And I was quite intrigued by the cover, and it's published by Penned in the Margins, and I trust them when it comes to poetry. They publish some absolutely fantastic poetry collections. Travel the unfashionable A-roads and commuter lines of England where industry meets marsh. Country riven by inequality and corruption but sustained by surreal gallows humour. Combines elegaic with anarchic, placing uproarious satire cheek by jowl with wild experiments in form and touching poems of parentage. So yeah, it looks like my kind of poetry collection basically. And I will tell you a bit more about this when I have read this one. Then there's a book that came in yesterday. Again, you won't know when that is, but for the record, it's Monday. Yesterday was Monday. It came in yesterday, and I know I've heard about this book, and I think I've heard about it on BookTube from some people who were sent some proofs. I'm not sure. But it came in, and I read the blurb out loud to my colleague, and we both laughed, and I was like, right, I have to buy this one. And it's "The Regional Office is Under Attack" by Manuel Gonzales. And I will read you the little bit of the blurb here. "It saves the world every week, but can the regional office save itself? Leading the assault, Rose, a teenage super assassin with a serious attitude problem. Standing in her way, Sarah, who has a mechanical arm and knows how to work the printers. The stakes, not only the regional office, but the fate of the world." Yeah, so I don't really know what it's about, but it just looks like hilariously good fun having a little flick through. I am going to read this one soon because it just looks like a good fun, sort of slightly sci-fi, twisty, I don't know. I don't really know what this one's about, but it looks fun and the cover's gorgeous, and yeah, I laughed out loud at the blurb and it looks really interesting, so I'm going to give this one a go. Then the last one in this haul that I picked up, unless I add on... Okay, I say the last one, but as I say, I've had these text messages to say that some other books have arrived at work, so I'm probably going to buy them when I'm in work tomorrow and possibly tack this on the end, so there might be a few more. We'll see. But the last one that I picked up yesterday, Monday, is This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson, and it's one that I've been meaning to read for ages, and as I've got her gender games book, I thought I'm going to grab myself this one as well. So it's a non-fiction book about sexuality that is sort of aimed at young adults, and we had this one out on our display when we did a little display for Exeter Pride, and I kept on meaning to buy it then because, as I say, I'd never read it, and a couple more copies came in stock yesterday, so I thought, sod it, I'm going to get it now. So This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. So I'm back, another day, another mad stack of books, another mad quiffage going on. So yeah, I recorded that last lot and this is me picking it up because I did buy some more books because I have, you know now, no self-restraint. I feel like doing a chorus like, how much self-restraint do I have? None! So when I was filming that last lot, I got some text messages to say that some books had arrived, and these were these, and these were these, and they were these, and they were these, and these were they. First one is Sad Girls by Leav. Now, I've never read any of Leav's poetry. I know that she's one of these who's quite sort of Tumblr famous, I think it was Tumblr, but I've never actually read any of her poetry, but this book looks really interesting. It's a debut novel. School is almost out for Audrey, but the panic attack's just beginning because Audrey told a lie and now her classmate Anna is dead. Just as her world begins to slip out of control, Audrey meets the enigmatic Rad, the boy who could turn it all around, but will their ill-timed romance drive her closer to the edge? So it's sort of like a coming-of-age story, a bit of a dark, secret-y type book, and it looks quite interesting. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like a normal paperback size, but it's trade paperback. I don't know why that matters. Then the other one that arrived is a copy of Blue is the Warmest Colour by Julie Maroh. Now, I've never seen the film, never read the graphic novel, obviously, and I thought I would finally get around to it. And the illustrations, just flicking through, are absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I'm going to add this to my graphic novel stack and give it a go soon. Just realised I didn't say what this is about, but basically it's about a girl in high school who has a boyfriend but doesn't really feel anything for him, and then when she goes to a gay bar she meets a girl there and everything goes from there. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a go. Then a book that was sent to me that I picked up when I went in to buy these ones is The Genius Within by David Adam, Smart Pills, Brain Hacks and Adventures in Intelligence. And it's sort of looking at neuroscience and cognitive enhancement, and it looks quite interesting. You know, there's a lot of sort of these smart pills and things going around that you can sort of like buy online and what have you. And he looks at sort of experiments with revolutionary smart drugs and electrical brain stimulation, intelligence tests, and looks at sort of how you can boost IQ. And yeah, it looks like quite an interesting one, this one, so I might give this one a go soon, The Genius Within. Then one that I'd ordered a little while ago and had arrived in work, but to be honest with you, I'd completely forgotten and not bought it, but I bought it when I bought the others, is James Tiptree Jr.'s Her Smoke Rose Up Forever. Now, James Tiptree Jr. is the pseudonym of Alice Sheldon, who in the 70s, 60s and 70s was writing sci-fi fiction under the pseudonym James Tiptree Jr., and then in 77 she was outed as being a female writer. And I only really heard about her because a friend of mine, Livia Francini, was Instagramming. She Instagrammed a passage from one of the short stories, and I was like, ooh, this sounds intriguing. And yeah, Alice Sheldon's backstory sounds absolutely fascinating, and Annette has recommended me a biography about Alice Sheldon, which, once I've read a few of these, I think I am going to probably buy, because it just sounds absolutely fascinating. She wrote sort of like these feminist slanted sci-fi short stories in a time when nobody was really doing that, with a male's name, and then she was outed. So yeah, it sounds really, really fascinating. Quite a chunky collection of short stories, feminist sci-fi type stories. I think this one will be a by the bed book, and I'll pick up and read a short story before bed every night, maybe. Then another one that arrived is a book that was a hell of a lot more of a junkster than I thought it would be, and that's Georges Perec's Life a User's Manual. Now, I read Perec's A Void a while ago, which is a book written entirely without the letter E. Having said that, I don't think I ever actually finished it because it was one of the many books that I was reading as sort of part of my creative writing sort of dissertation and essay type thing, and I was looking at sort of innovative texts, so I don't think I ever finished it, but what I did read of it was absolutely fascinating, and George Perrec's writing is just absolutely gorgeous of other bits that I've read here and there. So this one is about Perrec tries to create an entire microcosm in a Paris apartment block, and it's all of these different characters in this apartment block and how their lives sort of intersect, and yeah, it looks absolutely fascinating. Yeah, a bit more of a chunkster than I thought it was. I thought it was about the same size as A Voyage, but no, it's about twice as big, if not 3 times as big. But yeah, I am looking forward to getting into this one. Again, one of these gorgeous vintage editions. I love the covers. The more and more I'm flicking through it, I'm thinking this one may be very soon. Let's see. Then in work I also picked up a copy of What We Lose by Zinzi Clemens, which I've heard a lot about this one. I will read the blurb for this one because it's just a tiny little one. Tandy is a black woman, but often mistaken for Hispanic or Asian. She is American, but doesn't feel as American as some of her friends. She's South African, but she doesn't belong in South Africa either. Her mother is dying. Both raw and artful, minimal yet rich, What We Lose is an intimate story about love and loss and a fierce meditation on race, sex, identity, and staying alive. So this is a debut novel, and there has been a lot of talk about it, and again, the cover is gorgeous. It's got this, as you can see, this reflective moon. Let's get that in the middle. Ooh, middle, oh. There it is. So yeah, I'm quite excited to give this one a go. I started reading a few pages on my lunch break the other day, and already the writing is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm excited to give this one a proper go quite soon. Again, I want to read some sort of short hardbacks when they come out, because then I feel like I'm just totally behind the curve with new books that are exciting when they come out. So yeah, this one I'm gonna bump up the list. And then again, when I was in work, I went down and had a little tidy up of our graphic novel section, and I saw this one and I had to buy it, and it's Moonhead and the Music Machine by Andrew Ray, and it's one of these No Brow, who are a graphic novel producer. They do these, I think they're called 17 by 23. I think that's the size of the book, I'm assuming, and they're these really sort of gorgeous, absolutely sumptuous. I mean, I'll show you some of the illustrations. Just absolutely gorgeous. And again, read a bit of this on my break. Could have finished it, but fell asleep. So this one is about Joey Moonhead, who's a normal kid in every way except he has a moon for a head. Equipped with little else but a boundless imagination and an insatiable desire to be the best musician in existence, Joey Moonhead embarks on a stellar mission to create a machine that is out of this world. So I think he starts playing music and people realise that he's really good, and he sort of goes with that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. This is one that I'm going to curl up with very, very soon, because I'm just feeling in the mood for more graphic novels at the minute, so yeah. So, those are all of the books I have bought or received so far in July. I've just done a rough count, and I think it averages more than 1 per day. I was going to start launching into an in my defence, but there's no defence. When does book buying become a problem? I have no idea how I'm going to film or take the photograph for the thumbnail for this video. I'm just going to drop an absolute stack of books if I try and do it the normal way. So we'll see how that turns out. Let's see what the thumbnail's like by the time this goes up, because yeah, it's a lot of books for me to try and hold and not drop on my face. So I've now got 6 days off work. Well, today is the 1st, so I've got 5 days off work after this, go back to work next Saturday, and I'm going to spend some time getting my life in order and also spending some lovely time reading. While I'm off this week, I'm going to record the mid-year book tag, mid-year reading tag, mid-year book freak out tag. I don't know, it's got a few names, but I do like the look of it, and it does build slightly on the kind of books of the year so far theme. So I'm going to film that one later on this week, and I'm also going to do my graphic novel one that I've been promising to do for a little while. I'm going to completely refilm it because what I did record was ages ago, and I don't even know if I've got the footage anymore, so I'm just going to record that one from scratch. And as we are now over halfway through the month, I am also going to record my July wrap-up part 1. Not done too badly so far. I mean, I've read 7 books, but I did have a pretty busy month, pretty busy week, the first week of July, I should say. So, yeah, not too bad, but I think I'm hoping to pick it up this week. As per the usual, any of the books that I've done in this wrap, you've got a few to look at, you know, but if any of them in this haul look like your kind of thing, have a little chat with me down below. If you've read any, again, if you didn't like them, keep stum. If you did like them, have a little chat with me. Anything else you'd recommend off the back of these? Because God knows I need more books, guys, you know. So have a little chat with me in the comments below. Ooh, I'm hopefully getting another bookcase this week, potentially. So if I do, I might try and do some filming of me trying to put my shelves in order. Honestly though, I'm looking around this room and I don't know where the other bookshelf's gonna go. Yeah, there's not really any room for it. I'm gonna make room. If there's one thing in my life I'm always able to make room for, that is a bookcase. And I think the bookcase I'm getting is a freebie from somebody, and I think it's quite a big one. So I'm going to have to buy more books to fill it up. Them's the rules. If you haven't watched my Books of the Year so far video, I will tag that down below. Have a little look and see what my Books of the Year so far are. And tell me if any of them are your Books of the Year so far. I feel like I'm really out of practice doing these. I've not been doing them as frequently, and I'm just so like, bleh. Also this week, even though it's my holiday, I will be popping into work to record Wexcast's mid-month catch-up podcast for the month of July. So I will link down below to the last episode, which is the Books of the Month for July, and you can have a little listen back to any of those episodes if it floats your boat, and I will of course be tweeting about that when we've recorded that and that's uploaded. So I'm off to try and figure out how on earth I'm going to do a thumbnail for this video, but the next video that I will upload will probably be my July wrap-up part 1, I think. So you've got that to look forward to. Until then, have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video, or you will see me. That's the way it works. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!